from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our live Saturday question and answer class. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat at any time. You can ask about American English pronunciation, fluent speaking, accent, whatever will help you feel confident and secure in correct English pronunciation and accent. At the beginning of class today, I want to look at a recent request from a viewer for some words. They wanted to know about the words sun and sun, song and sound. So we'll look at the pronunciation of these words, the spelling, the vowel sounds to help you make sure you're pronouncing them correctly and understand what's happening here. You can also leave questions in the comments if you're watching this later on as a replay and you didn't join us live. Okay, so first of all, you can see that I've written sun and sun here together. These have the same pronunciation. So letter U and letter O both make the sound in sun. So my son likes looking at the sun. Same pronunciation. This is the more typical spelling for the schwa, the stress schwa, the vowel, but a lot of words like sun, some, other words like that, other, also have letter O saying the schwa sound. And so I would rewrite this maybe like this, or you can just think of this sun and this sun being the same. Most of you are probably pronouncing this one correctly, but because of the way they're spelled, you might have thought you needed to do something different here, and it's the same pronunciation, sun and sun. But here we have an example of letter O. Instead of saying the sound or the O or the sound, it's an unusual pronunciation. Letter O here says the sound, like in saw. So we spell with AW, we spell it with O, we sometimes spell it with OU, like thought. So the spelling of the vowel is not consistent. It can be O, AW, AU, OU. And so for song, I like thinking about it more like saw, song. So you can use other words to help you match. I saw a song. I thought the song was too long. Other words to get that correct sound can be helpful. And also just revisualizing it, thinking of it as being an AW, if that helps you for this vowel here, etc. And then in the word sound, we have the letters OU and we have the ow diphthong. So while sun, the vowel, song, the vowel, those are monophthongs. We don't move or glide on the vowel. In sound, this is a vowel that is made by moving between two positions. So it's kind of like an and an together, ow. We often spell it with OW, like in now, or in OU, like sound or around. And you can visualize it more like sound. I would write it with OW, but that looks to me like sown, because there's a word sown. So OW can also say O. So rather than using OW here, for ow, sometimes I will write it with like an AU, sow, sound. Or you can just remember that OU often says the ow sound, like in sound. So again, none of these words are that tricky to pronounce, except that the way they're spelled doesn't always tell us what to expect and how to pronounce them. So pairing them with other words that you know you're confident of the pronunciation of can be very helpful. And also making sure that you're making the subtle differences between the which is central, the which is more open but rounded, and the ow, which is a diphthong sliding vowel. If it's helpful for you to see these types of contrasts, you might want to check out my minimal pairs playlist where I look at contrasting words where one sound is different. That can really be helpful in noticing those subtle differences in English spelling and pronunciation. You can also check out our Sounds of English course on speechmodification.com. In that course, I go through all of the vowel sounds of English, all of the consonant sounds, how they're spelled, what accent error patterns to watch out for, what are the common words they're in. So it's a great way to build a strong foundation to pronounce any word you like confidently and easily in American English. That's our Sounds of English course, and you can find it on our website, speechmodification.com. Welcome, everyone. It's nice to see so many of you here this morning. As I mentioned at the start, please feel free to put your questions in the chat at any time or leave a comment if you're watching this later on. I do go back and go through those and answer questions, give you resources. So we have a question about the word juror. Yeah, this is definitely a difficult word to pronounce. You might want to start with jury because that's a little bit easier. So the juror part, what we have is the j sound, like in judge. Letters UR say like in earn or turn, which I denote this way, and then jury ends with the E. So I would think about that like jur-E. So I'm writing juror this way because we definitely need a tight R sound here. You could write it with UR, IR, ER, whatever's easiest for you to imagine. I think of jur like when I'm thinking of if someone were cold and they would say burr. That's just strong sound, no gliding. So it's not it's not it's just just the R sound. So same thing happens at the beginning here. We have jur, first syllable stress. So I'll write that like jur, and then letters OR are unstressed. So we have another sound. So juror. Juror. And what's difficult there is that when I go from the first to the second I have to drop and restart like juror. So you can think about it almost like I'm doing an initial R and a vocalic R. Juror. Yeah, not easy. I do have a video talking about this word juror. Anytime there's multiple R's, it's difficult for native speakers and non-native speakers alike. So this is not a word that's easy or smooth to say, even for someone like me. So just be patient. You might have to slow down a little bit when you're saying juror. It does kind of sound like juror, like like almost not two syllables, like it kind of those R's all run together. So you have to hold it longer and make a little bit of a break, juror, that you kind of go from the R to R. Thank you, that was a great question. Okay, we have a question about the other meaning of sound in the context of sound system. So when I'm talking about sound system, I'm talking about phonemes or the phonetic or phonology. We could also say sound system to talk about stereo sound system, like a speaker or a player for CDs or MP3s, or that you hook your phone up to the sound system in your car. When I'm talking about sound system, I'm talking about what we have in our mind for categories of sounds. So, for example, we have consonant sounds. Consonants are made when something in the mouth is touching and producing something. So I have, for example, the p sound is a bilabial consonant because I'm putting my lips together and releasing them. We have vowel sounds, which are made by changing the shape in the mouth. So I have an E and an ah. How much space I have in my mouth makes the difference there. So when I'm talking about the sound system, I'm talking about words are made up of sounds, which then build our language. If I didn't answer your question, what you were actually asking me about, you can rephrase it in the chat. Thank you for that. Okay. So I have a question about how to pronounce annihilate. So we have annihilate. So this is an example where we don't really say annihilate. We don't say the windy sound for the H. We stress on the ni syllable. So it sounds like letter A is unstressed. It's going to be a schwa sound, and And then we have our stressed ni. This I is the I diphthong, like in light. So I'll write that with IGH, like in night. Annihilate. So the H is silent, and then we have an I, annihilate. Because we're moving from the I to the I, we have a little bit of a y sound linking the I to the I, annihilate. And then we have our 8 sound at the end. Annihilate. Annihilate. So clear vowel here at the end, even though it's unstressed. In the video game, they annihilated the enemy. Difficult word. Thank you for that request. Okay, we have a question about how to pronounce the word spare ribs. So spare ribs runs together. If I was going to go slowly, I might say spare ribs with 2 R sounds. But basically, because it's all one word, first syllable stress, we can just go right from the air to the of ribs. So you can say it like spare ribs. So in the dictionary, it's probably going to show 2 R's there. In reality, we're probably going to say like spare. So this is like a spare tire or an extra, a spare. It has the air diphthong. And then we're just going to run these 2 R's together. Spare ribs. So this I sound is just like the it of live or it, the I of it or live. Spare ribs. She cooked a dish of spare ribs. Okay, good. We have a question about fearlessly. So in fearlessly. So even though we have the word less has the F vowel like in red, in a word like fearless, that vowel is very reduced. And so it's going to be more of an I sound, fearlessly. So I would write that like fear. So the first vowel is ear, like in my ear, or sheer. And then I would even write it with no vowel in this middle syllable. Fearless. If I were going to use any vowel there, I would use an I, fearless. And then finally, we have the E, tense E at the end. So still unstressed. Long, short, fearlessly. She approached the rally fearlessly. She stood up to the unfair laws fearlessly. Good word. Thank you for that. Okay, we have a question about doorstep. So doorstep is a compound noun, a noun that's made out of 2 nouns together, which means it's going to have first syllable stress, but secondary stress on the second syllable, meaning we still have a clear vowel there. So my door is going to be longer, more stressed. The O-O-R says just the or sound. And then step is going to still have my clear F vowel. So I wouldn't really respell it except for maybe writing door this way so you know it's an or vowel. Step has the eh sound like red. So a red doorstep. Good word. Thank you. Okay. We have a question about the word cure. So cure is not that easy because we have the letter U has 2 sounds. We have the k and the y sound. So I'll write that with a ky, kya. And then some people will say it like cure with just an sound. Cure. Some people will use more of a tense oo vowel here and they'll do more of a cure. So both are correct. This is maybe Midwestern, West Coast. This is maybe more East Coast, cure versus cure, but they both have that y sound. So that's I'd say the tricky part, to make sure that you're doing not just cur or cure, but cure. You can also use a word like your to help you. So your cure, or for a cure. This is more of an and these can be more of an or sound. But just trying to get something to help you make sure that you remember you have the y sound in that word. I do have a video talking about this word in more detail that you can find on the channel. If you leave me a comment, I'll send you a direct link to it, or you can also use the search tools on our channel. It's a great way to find my videos for your specific words or your specific questions. And to do that, you just go to our channel page, scroll across the top, you'll see a search box after videos and home, etc. Type in your word, your question, your phrase, and videos talking about that topic will pop up. And if nothing pops up, leave me a comment and I'll find something that I have for you, or I'll add your word or question to my list to cover in a future class. And of course, you can attend these live classes Saturdays and ask your questions as well. Okay, welcome everyone. It's nice to see so many of you still here today. We have a question about the word stubborn. So in the word stubborn, we again have the OR saying the ER sound because it's not stressed. So the stub syllable is stressed. It has the schwa. Even though we have two B's, we only say one B sound, stubborn. So I would rewrite that like use an UH here. Stubborn. She's very stubborn. Yeah, good word, thank you. And we have a question about woman and women. I'm assuming you're asking about the singular and plural. So what's important here is to have a way to visualize them, that they don't have the O, what we typically say for letter O or letter A or letter E. So, and don't associate it with man and men. That's going to just mess you up. It doesn't have any similarities. So in woman, the second vowel is pretty much gone. If it's any vowel, it's going to be a little schwa sound like an W is like the same as in would. So you might write it this way. It's the same as in would you talk to a woman? So the vowel is the sound, woman, one woman. Another vowel another word that has the same vowel is good. So that might help you. Good woman, woman. And then just really here trying to have no vowel there. Versus women, both of these say the same sound, and it's the I vowel. So thinking of this one as min, with the wi being longer and the min being shorter, women. So use another word that has the same vowel, like six women, thin women, with women. And visualizing it with letter I can be helpful for the plural. So disassociating it from the way it's spelled, woman, good woman, and women, six women would be my suggestion. Probably similar to what I said in the last video, but hopefully hearing it explained live will help you with that, and just kind of move away from how those words are spelled, because that's, I think, where most of the confusion lies with the pronunciation of those words. Okay, and we have the contraction when we're speaking fluently, how to say aren't. So, of course, that comes from are, not. And again, with contractions, it's important to remember the meaning, but not use that to help us with the pronunciation, because it looks like aren't. And if you're going really slowly, you might say we aren't, but typically we just say we aren't. So one syllable. So rather than two syllables, it goes down to one. Aren't. This is the R sound like car. We aren't going. We aren't having any. They aren't talking. They aren't. The T tends to be unreleased. Depends on what's coming next, but it's usually just kind of like a short N with a stop T. We aren't talking. We aren't going. We aren't eating. So if I'm going to a vowel next, I might drop the T and go right from the N. We aren't eating. We aren't. We aren't eating. We aren't eating. I can use that unreleased T there as well. I do have some videos talking about using aren't in fluent speech. You can check those out on the fluent speaking playlist on the channel page as well. Or you can use the search tools and type in aren't. Great. We have a question about if T is dropped when we pronounce fast food. So fast food, it's not dropped, but it's not necessarily strongly articulated either. Fast food. So we might just use an unreleased T there, or we might pronounce a little light T, fast food. I never eat fast food. Fast food. Some people might drop it, fast food, but then it sounds kind of like too strong of an S sound. If you keep your S really short, fast food, then that's probably okay. But you don't want fast food. Fast food sounds wrong. So either light T, unreleased T, or very, very short S with no T are your choices for fast food. Great. Okay. Let's see. We have a question about the word statue. So in statue, this T-U is more of a CH sound, statue. This A is the A like cat. So you could think about using a word like that or cat with statue. Statue. And then we have just the tense U sound there. Long first syllable. That statue. And then for reinstitute, another request. Reinstitute. I'm not sure, is this a real word, reinstitute? Yeah, I guess to institute someone or reinstitute someone into a position. So institute is stressed on the in syllable. Reinstitute is also going to be stressed there, but have a little secondary stress on re. So it'll keep its tense sound, but it'll be somewhat short. Reinstitute. Because we have the ST blend here, we do a true T here. Reinstitute. Yeah, good word. Thank you. Okay, we have a question about pronouncing the word don't in fluent speech. So same thing that we were just talking about with the other word with aren't, with the NT. We have a couple of different ways we say words with NT. So one is if I'm just saying I don't, I'm going to use an unreleased T or a very light T. I don't. So I can say the T. I can stop the air for the T, but make it and not let it out. So I don't. If I'm running into another word, I don't want to. Same thing. Sometimes you might hear just the end. I don't like it. Letting the T out when there's another consonant coming is the least common. Using the unreleased T is the most common. I don't want, I don't like, I don't think. So typically follows the same rules as final T in other linked contexts, and you can get more help for the word don't, as well as linking final T in our linking and reduced sounds playlist, fluent speaking playlist. Also, in our Real Talk course on speechmodification.com, I walk through the connections between words, where we reduce and how we link, using contractions, all of those types of details, as well as showing you how to use TV and movies to become more fluent, listening for how native speakers connect words, and it teaches you a technique to use all kinds of materials around you to help improve your fluency when speaking English. That's our Real Talk course, and you can find it on our website, speechmodification.com. Okay, we'll take a couple more questions and then we'll wrap up for today. We have a question about the word system. So I don't know if that's back from your previous question about sound system, but to pronounce system, we have first syllable stress. The letter Y says the I sound. System. We have a very reduced vowel here. So it'll be shown probably as a schwa in the dictionary, but you can think about it, system, as almost not being there. And then I'm going to write the T here as more of a D. We're not really using system with a strong D, system. But it's basically an unaspirated T that we use there. So it's very muted. It sounds a little bit like a flap or an unaspirated T. So which system are you using? We need a new system. Great word. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much for being part of class today, asking about your specific words, fluent speaking. These are great topics, and they help not just you, but others who are watching the video live and later on. If you're watching this later on, feel free to leave a comment with your question or your request, and I'll direct you to resources here on the channel or on my website. And I'll be back again next Saturday with another live class, and next Tuesday we'll be debuting a new video on the channel. Thanks so much for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and especially a shout out to our channel members. I truly appreciate your support. So thanks so much. Looking forward to seeing you next time. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye everyone. Thanks for a great class.